Oh, well, Ferry Farm is a love of mine. I was president of the Stafford County Historical Society in 1995, and I received a phone call, and that's when phones were on the wall. I still remember picking it up and hearing from an attorney from Walmart saying that they were going to build a Walmart on George Washington's boyhood home, Ferry Farm. And he said, according to our proffers, we have to give you information as well as maps concerning what we're going to be doing there. So I was just, I was so shocked to hear that that was going to happen. And then since I was president, I worked in conjunction with HIFI at the time. We had a relationship. Bill Beck was the president of HIFI, and Larry Tomeko was the vice president at the time, and I would come down for monthly meetings. And I told them what transpired over the phone, and I said, I'm going to be receiving these maps and information about it. And so in Stafford County at the Historical Society, we started action right away, making buttons, Save the Farm, and things with ribbons on them, red, white, and blue ribbons. And meantime, HIFI, we were planning what to do with HIFI. And so we decided, the three, Larry, Bill Beck, and I decided that we needed a spokesperson, and we thought Ceci Howell would be the perfect spokesperson because her husband was Speaker of the House, and so we thought that this would be wonderful to have her be our spokesperson. So we joined forces, and we would have different meetings at the farm, and Barry Fitzgerald he played the guitar, and he wrote a song about evil Walmart on the premises, and we'd have meetings at Ferry Farm, protest meetings and all. And one of the times that was down there, there was a picture taken of someone in a trench coat, and they came out of a black, like Cadillac, and I thought, oh, they're probably from Walmart at the time. And so I talked with our minister at the church about this, and he said, Jane, look at that person again. That's a guy that goes to our church. And I couldn't believe it. And so I contacted him. I said, what were you doing at that rally? I thought you were. And he said, I work for the union. And he said, the union, we're against it because Walmart is non-union. And so we're against it. I want to see everything that you have. So I showed him the maps, and he showed me his maps, and everything that looked green on my map, they had already bought out Sally Beauty Shops, the dollar store, a pizza place. These were all going to be on this property there. So we had different board of supervisor meetings, and we'd always go up and say things like, we can't build on this property. And the board of supervisors were very quiet, very non-committal. And I heard through the grapevine that the supervisors really wanted it there because economic development they thought would be strengthened. So that's when we would say, move on down the road, move on down the road. And there was a woman, Claudia Morgenstern, that came out from California, and we had connections because her father owned a car dealership Eagle Rock, California, and my father owned a glass shop in Eagle Rock, California. She was older than I, but we had that instant bond, and I showed her the Rose family in Stafford County when she came out here, so she became a member of our historical society. And about a year later, she had heard all about what was happening, and she called me and she said, Jane, I'm in Washington, D.C. now. I'm at the New England Historical Society, or Genealogical Society, up in Washington, D.C. Come up right away, bring everything from the proffers, the maps. I want to look at everything. She looked at everything and she said, Jane, I'm calling over that gentleman over there. So this gentleman came over in the hotel where they were staying, and he was the president of the society. And she said, I want Jane to come up and speak tomorrow night. We have 100 people here, 2 people from every state in the union, and I want everyone to know about what is taking place. So she gave me my marching order. She said, Jane, I want you to make out little forms that say Save the Farm and the addresses and phone numbers of Bentonville, Arkansas, where Walmart is. And so I went out. When I came home that very day, I walked the property of Ferry Farm, and I heard birds and just the rustle of the trees there, just realizing that George Washington walked there. And then I went to Walmart on Plank Road and walked on the asphalt there, and there were bags flying around, and I thought, this cannot take place. Ceci Howell was interviewed by NBC, the Today Show, so we knew it had some coverage, but it still wasn't translating into Walmart changing their position. I asked Vernon Edenfield, who was in charge of Ferry Farm or the Kenmore Society at that time. I said, Vernon, do you have anything that I could hold up showing these people what was found on this property? He said, well, if you go to the Mary Washington house, there is a pewter plate that the Washingtons used. So I signed my life away because they said we don't loan this out to anyone. So I remember signing away everything. And so the next night I went up there, and I held up that pewter plate and I said, you know, if you want nothing more to be found on this property, but to be having it asphalted all over and trash bags going around rather than hearing birds singing, do nothing. But if you all can make a difference, if you just take one of these pieces of paper, please call. That means that Walmart will hear from every state in the union. And please give out this number to your friends. Have them move down the road. So sure enough, they came up in droves, and they just didn't want a piece of paper each. And Claudia had told me, Jane, run off lots of them. I was giving them out. So I was thinking, oh, if only they'll do it. And sure enough, they heard from every state in the union. And shortly thereafter, they said that they would move down the road, and bless Kenmore's heart for purchasing the property and saving it today. So it was a small role to play, but I'm so happy that I was part of that, saving the farm. My husband and I really want Stafford to have an identity. Right now, 2/3 of Stafford County has a Fredericksburg mailing address. So teaching at Falmouth Elementary, as I did for a while, all those children there thought they lived in Fredericksburg because that was their mailing address. So there's just a very slim section of Stafford County that has a Stafford mailing address. So I want all of Stafford County to realize that we have such a history of our own, as my husband's book title refers to. We have an enormous history, from dinosaurs through Pocahontas being kidnapped here, our wonderful history, colonial history, including George Washington, George Mason, the ironworks that were here, Accokeek Furnace and Hunter's Ironworks. We wouldn't have won the, they say, Patrick Henry said that the Hunter's Ironworks was the largest in all the colonies at the time, and we wouldn't have won the War of Independence had it not been for them constructing all the rifles and cooking pots and anchors and things like that. And we are so proud of George Mason, George Washington, the other history about Langley launching an airplane here before the Wright brothers, and our artists, Palmer Hayden and Gary Melchers. We're so proud of our people and our history, and we're proud of our history today, including, we had 3 Staffordians, Jeff Rouse, Mark Lindsay, and Conrad Adams, who were Olympians from here too. So our history, we have lots of wonderful people in our past and in our future.